Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 36. Andrew Eisen here, along with special guest Super Metal Dave 64. Hello, Dave.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me on your podcast. I've been watching you for quite a long time, actually, since you started.
Really?
I think I don't know when it was, early 2010 or something.
Yeah, 2010, 2011, something like whenever the Project Rainfall stuff was, is when I started. So yeah, I think that was 2011. So
They were like, "Here, Nintendo, I have money to give you, and I want Xenoblade, and I want The Last Story, and I want Pandora's Tower, and I want Skyward
and
Sword. I'll give
I
you
got
everything."
all of them. So hey, it worked. See what happens, Nintendo. Unfortunately,
Exactly.
never got Disaster Day of Crisis or
Shame.
another Code R, something like that, which looked neat. Those looked fun. I'm still kind of bummed that we didn't get those because they were completely localized. They just never released them out here. But hopefully that will not be a problem with the Nintendo Switch, being that it's region free. If they decide to localize something and release it only in Europe, well, hey, we can download it too.
Yeah,
Or buy
exactly.
it.
I never understood that either. That game was I never got a chance to play it, but everyone said it was really good. I don't know why they didn't release it. In the United States, a Wii sold 100 million consoles. I think it could have sold at least a million. 1%.
Yeah, maybe, you know. I mean, especially since there was almost literally nothing else on the Wii at the time, and it was just spinning its wheels until the Wii U showed up.
Someone in the chat saying the game was canceled, but it wasn't canceled. It was
Disaster Day of
released.
Crisis, that was
Yeah.
released, yeah.
hmm
Just everywhere except North America, unfortunately. Because it looks like a lot. Now, the reviews are pretty much all in agreement that the game is genuinely dumb, but
hmm
in a really fun way.
I mean, it looked
So,
fun, and it's a game I would have liked to tried. There was lots of games on the Wii that were rated kind of mediocre, like Mad World, for example, which I loved.
mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
Even one of the worst games ever rated, Target Terror, which I loved as a drinking game.
That's
Um,
that's kind of a light gun shooter, isn't it?
yeah, no,
Yeah,
kinda. No, it is. Yeah,
it's exactly a light gun shooter. I like
it's
the Ghost something. What the hell is it called?
oh yeah, not Ghost Recon,
Ghost. I can see it. Hang on.
Ghost Squad,
Ghost.
Ghost Squad.
Ghost Squad. Ghost
Yeah,
Squad.
that's
There
what I
we
was
go.
saying. But then he ran away. And
Sorry.
someone in the chat says, "Do I know about kittens?" Yes, I do. I saw that video.
Of course it does. That's my most viewed video by far. I think it's like 1.1 million views or something like that.
Yeah, people liked seeing that. They want to see your mom's reaction.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? Uh,
Oh man.
so there's a sister reacts to that one too, which I
Yeah.
think is like 600,000. What's interesting is the original video I did, the original reaction video, which was just poking fun at reaction videos.
Right.
It, not very many views. It's like maybe 10,000 or something like that. That one's not very watched. It's the reaction to the reaction that got a reaction.
No, it was really good. That was a really good video. But
Thanks.
I never thought of you as that kind of a channel, because
Mhm.
obviously you don't want to be known for just one video. So, but that was really good.
That's both the strength and the weakness of my channel, I think, is that I don't have, I mean, I have a weekly podcast, but I don't have a specific shtick,
Mhm.
um, which is nice because you never know what you're going to get out of me. But on the other
That is
hand,
true.
there's nothing, there's no gimmick or shtick or anything that you can latch onto. You should watch Andrew because of this particular show. So, it works to my advantage and works against me, but that's all right. I don't do this for a living, so I just do it for fun.
Exactly. That's what everyone should do YouTube for, is for fun. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
looking to do it for money, then you're probably gonna not get any money.
I made $9 last month.
Congrats. You
The
could probably buy a Disaster Day of Crisis,
I
get it
might be
imported or
able to,
something.
yeah.
Hack your Wii.
So, Dave, one question I think that is on everyone's mind, especially those who don't know you. Are you a brony?
What is a brony?
As far as I can tell, it's someone who likes the show My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
Oh my God. I've never even heard of that.
You've never heard of it?
I don't think so. My Little Pony?
Yeah,
I've heard of My Little Pony, but the other thing,
oh man, you're missing out. Okay. No, so they did a remake of My Little Pony. It's been running for about 6 years. It's actually really good. Has a big following amongst college age kids or college age adults, I guess. And they're called bronies, and I think women are called Pegasisters or something like that. Just a funny thing I like to ask. But you haven't even heard of the show. Shame on you, Dave.
I guess I'm missing out on something, some inside weird male bonding thing.
I suppose. Well, it's a fun show. I've never gone to any conventions. I don't own any of the toys, but it's a fun show. So the other thing I wanted to ask you though is Super Metal Dave 64. Is that name? Were you in your youth known as Metal Dave because you liked metal, or is it just the Metal Mario in 64 taken from that, or where did the name come from?
Well, Super is for the Super Nintendo. 64 is for Nintendo 64. Dave, David. Metal, that was kind of a nickname for when I was a teenager. I was into that, hard rock music.
Oh, okay.
But I also like Metal Mario. It seemed to fit. So Super Metal Dave 64 seemed to fit just right.
Interesting. All right. So one topic I wanted to touch on real quick. We will talk Nintendo because that's, Dave and I, as you can tell from our respective channels, are rather interested in that topic. But one thing I wanted to hit real quick is something I just noticed today is Capcom announced that if you are a child of the 80s, you might remember Muscles, which were little plastic figures.
I had those.
Like these little guys here.
Yep, I think I had that guy.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them, and they're all covered in, I think, like Ghostbusters ectoplasm because they're kind of sticky. So God. I've been trying to clean them. But there are Mega Man muscles now, which, let me see if I can find the picture here, which look like this. So you've got a lot of the Cut Man and some of the Mega Man 1 characters in muscle form, which cool. I think is incredibly cool. Apparently there's some Street Fighter 2 muscle characters too. So you remember those from the 80s?
I think I still have them locked away somewhere in a case or something. But yeah, I used to play with that stuff when I was a preteen.
Yeah, they've got really some nice designs. So, all right, let's see. Next thing I wanted to talk about. Okay, so this next one is an interesting little tidbit. If you recall back to the big Switch presentation back in the middle of January, Suda51 got on stage and started talking. And the translator, even if you don't speak Japanese, it was abundantly clear that the translator was completely lost. And Suda just went completely off script. So DualShockers actually spoke to him and got a quote from him. And Suda said, there was a prompter, but I stuck to about 80% of the script. And then he formally apologized to the translator and offered to fly him to Seattle to have dinner with him. And he says, on the other hand, Nintendo praised me and said it was a great presentation. Foreign people over here probably didn't understand much of what was going on. And yeah, it's true. I would have to disagree with Nintendo that it was a great presentation. I mean, it was funny, but he didn't really say much. And exactly. The idea of a new No More Heroes game, if indeed that's what this new project is really cool, because I'm a fan of No More Heroes. But it's like, hey, this is Travis Touchdown, and he might be in a game on the Switch of someday.
Yeah, No More Heroes, the first one was one of my favorite games on the Wii. The second one, not so much. They changed the way the game, the mechanics and everything, but I really liked the quirkiness of the first game. It was really good. So, but yeah, he came on stage, danced around, and and there was no gameplay shown, no real game announcement. He's just like, I would like to make a game for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
there was one piece of art of Travis Touchdown, and it's like, oh, you haven't even started yet, have you?
And it's true. It came out the following couple days later that the development hadn't actually started yet.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe you want to focus on what we're going to be. I found the event a little frustrating because you spent almost the entire event going, okay, but what are we playing on March 3rd?
yeah, exactly.
And 1-2 Switch was a launch game. It's like, okay, fine. I personally don't care, but let's see what else. And they're like, Splatoon 2 in the summer. It's like, great. What's launch day? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe now with battle mode. Now with proper battle mode in
Yay.
April. It's like, okay. And they on and on and on. It's like Xenoblade 2 2017. And everyone said, yeah, right. And then we finally get to the end. It's like Zelda, March 3rd. It's like, yeah, we kind of figured that. So,
yeah, no, yeah, I saw your reaction video to that. That was cool. That was really cool how you did that, guys. And if you were watching, if you haven't seen it, check it out. But you're doing like a monologue inside your brain while you watch silently. So you obviously did a couple different recordings there.
Yeah, some of my followers asked me for a reaction video to the Switch event. I actually ran a poll on Twitter and I had a few dozen people actually say, yay! I'm like, really? You want to? Because I watch things like this.
Yeah, no reaction.
That's just what my face does when I'm absorbing information. This is what I look like when I play video games, read a book, play the piano, watch TV.
You basically look like you're stoned.
There you go. I'm like, do you really want to watch an hour of my face doing this? So, but enough people said, yes, we do. So I recorded my live non-reaction to the Switch event. And then I recorded a voiceover for it, presenting it ostensibly as my thoughts at the time. And put some reverb on it to give it an echoey internal monologue effect. And amazingly, 35 to 40% of the people who watched that video watched it all the way through, which kind of amazed me. I looked at the retention statistics on that video. I was thinking, no one's going to watch the whole thing, but 35 to 40% of the people who watched that video actually watched the whole thing, which I was kind of amazed. So,
yeah, I was curious how your reaction was going to be for the first half of the presentation, because I thought that was the worst part of it. And a lot of people did as well, because it was just a lot of exposition and explaining of stuff we already knew about. And then 1-2 Switch was kind of disappointing, in my opinion. And then ARMS, not interested in that game either. So it was like the first half of it was kind of like stuff I wasn't interested in.
Yeah.
And then the second half of it, things started picking up with the games that we wanted to see, the Xenoblade and the Dragon Quest and Zelda and Mario and all that.
I did get a kick out of finally seeing Kimishima, because I think this is the first time we've ever actually seen him present anything since he took over the presidency of Nintendo. So that was nice.
She had to do the thing.
Yes, and I love that. I actually never got tired. And now let's switch to the. I'm like, I hope they do that every single time, and they did.
And they did.
So, it's going to become this generation's direct gimmick. So I also appreciated that it wasn't the same people we see at all these shows, like Aonuma and Miyamoto. Got a lot of new blood on stage, which was really nice to see, I thought. But I agree, the first part kind of dragged a bit, and the games that they showed don't appeal to me personally. I have no interest in 1-2 Switch. I mean, if it was packed in, I'd play it.
Then you'd have no
at
choice.
Least once, yeah, just to see. But it's
let's
really
see if the Switch works. Okay, it works.
Yeah, what's your take on 1-2 Switch? Are you getting any sense that from anyone that they're excited to play it, to drop $50 to play it?
No.
Neither am I. I have not found anyone in the chat. You guys looking to one two switch? Going to drop 50 bones on that sucker?
Not for $50. No.
13UQ is chastising me for ignoring the chat. I'm sorry. You're right. I am ignoring the chat. Sorry. Anything cool has already scrolled past, so sorry.
I'm watching the chat. I haven't seen anything much besides
someone likes my
talking about Sega a little bit, but yeah.
So yeah, 1-2 Switch. I've been saying, oh man, this is going to be the biggest sales disaster since Wii Music, and then I trolled through a bunch of Nintendo's old financial reports, and apparently that thing sold about 2.5 million. I'm like, really? I thought it's true. I thought it was a sales failure, but no, that thing sold at least 2.6 million is the most current number I could find from Nintendo's financial reports. So,
Codename Z says, if you give me $50, I'll get the game.
There you go. Yeah, sure. If you pay me to play it, I'll get it. Sure. Yeah. But my co-host Zachary actually had an interesting idea in that what if they did something similar to Wii Play and packed 1-2 Switch in with the Joy-Cons? Because, Wii Play is a tech demo in the form of a couple mini games to show off the Wii remote, and it was packed in with the Wii remote for an extra $10, and it sold near 30 million copies. Most people were just buying an extra Wii remote and saying, hey, extra $10, get a couple mini games, sure. Of course, the Joy-Cons are like 70 for both of them.
80 for both, 50 for each separately.
That's what it is. Okay, 80 for both. Which one's 70? Is it the grip?
No, the Pro controller is $70.
Pro controller is 70. Two controllers are 80. The dock is 90. That's what it is.
The dock is 90. Wow.
A hunk of plastic.
You can buy
an HDMI and power pass through.
You can buy a Nintendo 2DS, I believe, for $79.99. So yeah, I mean you can connect your Switch to the TV for $90 if you have an extra, for an extra dock. Obviously, it comes with a dock, but yeah, it's kind of expensive.
Yeah, Codename asked if Nintendo Land sold well. Well, that one was bundled with the Wii U in North America, so its numbers are probably fine.
Yeah, it sold pretty good. Let's see, the highest selling Wii U game is Mario Kart 8, like standalone game. I think it's like 8.2 million or something like that, 8.3. Sold pretty good.
Mario Kart, Mario Kart 8, yeah. Which, if you look at Mario Kart Wii, I think that one's over 30 million.
Yeah, that game.
But Mario Kart 8 sold 8 point something. I think you're right. And the Wii U sold 13 or 14 million.
Yeah, I think it's like 13.6 or something like that.
Yeah, but when you think about it, that's literally over half of the people who have a Wii U have Mario Kart 8. That's incredible.
Yeah, and also I believe Splatoon is over 5 million as well for a brand new IP. That's really good.
4 or 5 million, I believe. Yeah. So Splatoon 2 should do nice as long as it's not a passing fad. And not a flash in the pan. I think Splatoon 2 should do fine.
Yeah, for sure.
So earlier this week, Nintendo announced downloadable content for Zelda Breath of the Wild. And let's just look at what that is real quick. I have a picture. There we go. Okay, so sorry, I have to move it out of the way so I can read it. So for $20 on launch day, let me lock it so I can read it. Okay, so on launch day, you get 3 new treasure chests, which are on the opening area, the Great Plateau, and contain useful items and include exclusive in-game clothing. What are useful items? No idea, but I would guess probably arrows and crafting materials and stuff like that. That would be my guess. In the summer, you get a new Cave of Trials challenge, a new hard mode, and an additional map feature. And during the holidays, if you're not busy playing Mario Odyssey, you get a new original story, new dungeon, and additional challenges. So.
Yep.
Kind of interesting that Nintendo announced this 2 weeks before
the game release.
Before the game release. That's always a risk for DLC because it creates the perception that this was already there and you yanked it out of the game to sell back later.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any. I'm sure you don't have any problem with DLC in general for a game like this this huge, and I don't myself. But the only problem I have with this particular DLC is it's just a couple things. That would be the information about it is kind of unclear. Like you brought out there, we don't really know exactly what you're getting. Besides the last part of it, you got that brand new story content, a new dungeon, and something else that was said at the end there. But the new hard mode thing, I mean, that should be basically on the game.
I agree. I mean, unless they're doing like an Ocarina of Time Master Quest complete rejiggering or something like that, I imagine it's probably just the enemies hit harder and things of that nature. And yeah, I agree that should not be $20 DLC. That should be in the option menu.
Yeah, I mean, or at least they should break it up so you could buy these things separately a little bit there. Because say you only want to have the new hard mode and you don't care about the rest of it, you want to spend $20 for that? Nah, right? You know, and or what they should have done is communicate it differently. Wait till the game released, and then maybe in April say, "Hey, we got downloadable content coming in a holiday," and just release all of it at the same time. Then instead of piecemealing it, you know, you pay $20 up front, get a little bit here, a little bit there, and finally you get the good stuff in the holiday.
Maybe they should put easy mode behind a paywall. Do you suck at the game?
Pay to win.
Over some cash. Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
I'm a little annoyed about this just by how vague. I think Nintendo struck the perfect balance with its Mario Kart 8 DLC because it didn't tell you everything that you were going to get, not specifically, but it did give you, it told you you're getting, in this pack, you're getting 8 extra tracks, 4 extra characters, 4 extra carts, and it told you like what one of the characters were and one of the new carts. And it's like, okay, I know what a track is. Okay, we're getting 4 carts and 4 characters and 8 tracks for $7.99 or whatever it was. Good deal. And they didn't tell you exactly what each specific cart was, but they gave you enough. This, I have no idea what an additional map feature is supposed to be.
I have no idea
are
either.
We getting waypoints? I mean, a compass that should be there in the first place. I mean, maybe it's something really extra and neat. I
don't get it either. Certain things I can understand. Side quests, additional side quests, additional dungeons, additional costumes, additional story elements. That's great. I would love to have that as long as you don't need it to beat the game regularly. That's great for additional content. But as far as adding some kind of map feature, adding a difficulty setting, are they going to add a sound setting too? Like, you know, have increased surround sound, you know, if you paid. That's kind of silly, right?
It's like, DLC Pack 3. 1080 mode. So, oh, you
31 frames per second.
That's right. Yep. Every extra dollar you pay, you get an extra frame per second.
There you go. That's the wave of the future right there.
Pay for your frames.
There you go.
Yeah, so DLC Pack 2 definitely. Oh, and also the Cave of Trials challenge, which for Zelda fans probably pulls up the Cave of Trials or whatever it was called in Twilight Princess, which was essentially one room with monsters in it. You beat the monsters, and then you go to the next level, which is another single room with harder monsters in it. That sounds like what this very likely is, and if that's what it is, that's kind of lame, but who knows?
What they used to do with those games with Zelda is that they used to make it so you had to complete certain tasks in the game to unlock that stuff that's already in the game, right? So you complete these challenges and do these side quests, and then you get an additional challenge to do in the game. It's already there.
Yeah. Jordan Thompson in the chat says, new map feature, a big red arrow that says, it's over here, dumbass. That's a good one. I like that. 13UCube says, I'd pay $50 more to ensure Link never talks. Well, that's been confirmed that beyond grunts and hiahs, Link's not going to say anything.
Well, that's good.
Probably for the best. I always thought it would be interesting if Link communicated in sign language, like he was deaf or something. And that's why Navi and Fi or Fee are constantly talking for him, because not everyone knows how to sign.
Well, that's why she's saying, "Hey, listen," all the time, right?
Hey, listen. He's like,
I can't hear you. Sign language, please.
oh yeah. But DLC Pack 2 sounds like the meat and potatoes of this. New original story, new dungeon, additional challenges. I mean, it depends on exactly what that is. You hear new dungeon, you're like, yay, new dungeon. We're not talking like an additional shrine, right? Big dungeon.
We don't know.
Oh, exactly. We don't know.
Well,
Maybe
it says that there is a difference between the two, shrines and dungeons, in this particular Zelda. Yeah. So it says dungeon. So hopefully that's about, maybe 2 hours of content right there.
But I mean, it reminds me back of what was it? Batman Arkham Asylum. They're like, new DLC, you can play as Robin. It's like, great. In the challenge rooms. It's like, that's it. And Catwoman's DLC was only like an hour and a half or something like that. So, yeah. So it's really going to come down to. I know some people are being really hard on the DLC, but it really comes down to wait and see exactly what it is.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the game and not worry about the DLC, whether or not, if I want it or not. I'll play throughout the whole game, do everything I can with it. And then when the holiday season comes, I can just purchase that right there and get everything at once. I don't have to spend $20 and get a little treasure chest, and then wait a few more months and get another treasure chest, and then wait a few months and get a dungeon.
Yeah. Well, if you buy Breath of the Wild now or in 2 weeks, and then you buy the DLC next fall when the Pack 2 story content comes out, it's like, oh, I've got the 3 extra treasure chests in the Great Plateau. Oh, great. Got some arrows and some meat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I've beaten the game months ago. This stuff's useless to me now. But
yeah, and with Zelda, whenever you get close to beating the game and have all the heart containers, you have all this stuff already, adding extra stuff to it at that point, you're like, well, do I really need that? I'm already invincible. I've beaten the game already. I'm like Super Link now.
I've got 20 hearts across the top of the screen.
And I have them maxed out. Each heart has an extra, plating of armor on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it remains to be seen. So the content has to be something that's substantial enough to make you want to buy it. So I mean, Nintendo is historically good with their DLC. And Mario Kart 8 is the shining example. Smash Brothers was amazing. Tons of content to download. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. This so far is a little bit questionable as far as how they're presenting it in the packages. But as far as content is concerned, I'm sure they'll make it meaty enough when it's all said and done.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what this stuff is. I think the high watermark for Nintendo and DLC was probably Mario Kart 8 and maybe Super Luigi U. I think the Hyrule Warriors Wii U stuff was pretty darn good, pretty fairly priced and pretty expensive. I thought the Legends stuff was a little overpriced and lame, the 3DS stuff. Smash Brothers was, I think it's a bit overpriced, some of the DLC for Smash Brothers, but man, is there a lot of stuff to choose from. And it's really great because it's completely a la carte. You don't care about Ryu in your game. You don't want Ryu in your game.
I want
Cloud or someone. Yeah. I want Ken. Yeah. Well, you can color swap them to red. It's the same thing.
That's true.
But there was a lot of cool content. So I think overall, I think Nintendo has been doing a pretty nice job with DLC. And I'd said to someone on Twitter that Nintendo's only been doing DLC of late. And she said, oh, no. Nintendo's been doing DLC for years. I said, yeah, that's what I meant by of late. I guess I'm old. I guess, 4 or 5 years is recent to me. So
let's see, the first DLC they did, I think, was in 2013, right? Did they do anything for the Wii? I don't remember. I don't think they did.
Can't think of any. I think the Super Luigi U was one of the first ones, and that would have been like 2013.
Yeah.
So
I think on the Wii, Activision did a slight update to something on Call of Duty Black Ops or something like that, but it wasn't really much of anything.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on. So, I'd like to talk a little bit about the marketing of the Switch, because Nintendo's been very clear for years that this is a console. First reveal trailer back in October initially presented a guy on his couch with a gigantic dog. I've still never got over how big that dog is. But he's sitting there on the couch playing a console, and he undocks it, and it's like, oh, the console is portable. Even as recently as, and they presented it the same way at the Switch event in the middle of January, even as recently as the the investors meeting at the end of last month, Nintendo referred to it as a home console type video game system.
Yeah.
But then we had the Super Bowl commercial, which the 30-second spot anyway, which started out with a guy in bed playing it undocked. So if you had never heard of the Switch before, you'd say, oh, a new handheld. Neat. And then it plugs into a TV, and it's like, oh, this super powerful handheld plugs into a TV. Neat. So do you think that Nintendo might be doing an about face on the way it's marketing the Switch, or just maybe the way that the Super Bowl spot was edited?
I think that was the Super Bowl spot, honestly, because that was the 30-second commercial. And have you seen the 1 minute 45-second commercial?
Yeah,
where it's all over the place and wacky.
Yeah.
And people doing all kinds of funny things with their shaking of the bottle. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I think they in that particular commercial, it didn't show much of what the Switch could do besides being portable and then plugging into your TV. Because the other one, they showed way more things with all the Joy-Con stuff and all the different things you can do with multiplayer locally. So it did look like a handheld that could plug into your TV, basically, in that commercial.
Yeah. So do you think? What do you think would be the best way to market this system? Do you think it's going to sell best as a console that's portable, or as a powerful handheld that you can also hook up to your TV?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? Because Nintendo says it's a console that can be taken anywhere with you.
Yeah.
So then they say portable home console.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the only way to do it, really, because if you just say it's a portable, that doesn't really tell the whole thing. If you just say it plugs into your TV, that kind of says it a little bit, but I don't know. You can also kind of have the whole full home console experience at the same time when you do that. So I don't know. It's hard to say. What do you think?
I go off and on. I think because I think it might be better served to market as a really powerful handheld that also can hook up to your TV. Because otherwise, you run into the power issue. You run into a console that comes out 3.5 years after its contemporaries and is less powerful and doesn't have most of the AAA games. And that to me is a tough sell. But if you sell it as, here, hey, do you like the 3DS? Here is a console level portable experience, but you can also just hook it up to your TV and relax on your couch and play it. That, to me at least, is a more interesting proposition, because as a primarily console gamer myself, you say, hey, here's a console that we kind of pulled back on the power to make it portable, which I don't care about. That's not as attractive to me. There
you go. Yeah, that's the big question, right? How successful can it be without AAA third-party support, right?
Because I think it's really going to come down to how much value the gamers, as a wide swath of gamers across the country and the world, how much they actually value portability.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, I have no idea how on earth they are going to sell Skyrim next fall for $50 when you can buy the special edition on PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 right now for $45.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I
that's a
mean,
really good question.
unless it's like, oh my gosh, portable Skyrim, it's all I've ever wanted. Unless there's a bunch of people who are just really super stoked about taking these massive AAA game experiences on the go with them, I just don't. I just don't know if it's going to sell that well.
Yeah, I've heard some people are excited about that. Taking Zelda with them at least on the go. Me personally, I'm home console gamer.
Yeah, if I'm not home, uh, I'm at work where I can't play video games or shopping or in the gym or driving. So, um, so a portable console doesn't do much for me personally, and I live alone, so I don't have a, oh well, you need to use the TV, no problem. Click, and then go
Yeah,
off and play in my bedroom or something. So it's and that's why I've been a little bit cooler on the Switch than a rabid Nintendo fanboy like myself otherwise might be, is because
a raving rabbit.
there you go. And speaking of which, where the hell is that Mario and Raving Rabbids crossover? I was really looking forward to seeing what that was.
A big rumored game that we haven't seen yet. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah.
Interesting.
Um, Wakanai in the chat says, I just figured out what the new hard mode in Breath of the Wild is. It obviously adds Navi who bothers you every 5 minutes. It makes the game harder by making it you so mad you stop playing.
Oh, great comment.
Yeah. 13U Cube asks, do we think Miiverse is done? Nintendo's confirmed that Miiverse is done, so
Yeah, exactly. Hey, by the way, we have some breaking news.
Oh, really?
Let me read this from NeoGAF. Nintendo of America issues statement on stolen Switch systems.
Oh, I think I might know what this is.
Earlier this week, individuals claimed to prematurely purchase a small number of Nintendo Switch systems from an unspecified retailer. Nintendo has determined these units were stolen in an isolated incident by employees of a U.S. distributor, unnamed, with one system being illegally resold. The individuals involved had been identified, terminated from their place of employment, and are under investigation by local law enforcement authorities on criminal charges. Nintendo Switch will launch worldwide on March 3rd, 2017, and we look forward to everyone being able to discover the wonders of the new system for themselves at that time.
And we look forward to being able to walk into a store and actually buy one, Nintendo.
Yeah, but there you go. Nintendo has released this statement that these guys, obviously you saw the leaked UI and the unboxing of it already. I think these guys are being arrested.
Yeah, I haven't been following it that closely. You might have heard her giggling in the background, but my sister's over there. So she's visiting this weekend, so I haven't been keeping up with the news as much. But I did hear about the someone somehow got a Switch and was posting videos of the UI. And there's been some rumors about, you stole it out of the back room, didn't you?
Didn't you?
And no, totally legit. It's like, I actually did buy the Nintendo 64 from a Best Buy 3 days before it launched.
Oh,
Went to a Best Buy and said, hey, you got any N64s? The guy's like, well, we have some in the back. I said, go get one. And
nice.
he did. And so I was playing Mario 64 3 days early. Yay.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, I was playing it on launch day, but yeah.
Yeah. So someone is admiring my VHS collection. Those are actually all DVDs, but I do have several VHS tapes of classics like
DVDs are the new VHS, guys.
Yeah. I have VHS copies of Child's Play and Ghostbusters and some great movies. So, oh my God, the chat is taking off. You're too popular for me, Dave.
How many people are watching?
31 right now.
Oh, okay.
So basically doubling my usual numbers.
No worries.
So, no, that's good. Welcome, everybody. I hope you are future fans of both of our channels. Dave, how long have you been doing... I only became aware of you last summer, I believe. Have you been doing YouTube for much longer than that?
I started YouTube in 2011, just doing gameplay videos and stuff. And then I started doing more Nintendo focused stuff in 2015 when they announced the NX, and things started going from there.
So is the footage that plays over your commentary, is that just what you'd been playing that day?
Not necessarily. I usually record stuff in advance and then just put it up in the background, whatever game that may be. That's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah. The game footage that plays during your commentaries.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, not commentary on the game footage, but on Nintendo Business.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, usually that's kind of like what I do. I like to play a game, talk about the subject at hand, and then play some music that I choose to play in the background as well, and it kind of works well for me.
Nintendo Switch with a 10, the number 10 in it, says, "What games are you guys picking up besides Zelda?" Well, that's kind of presumptuous, don't you think? But I'm sure we'll both be getting Zelda.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting Zelda. I don't know what else. Street Fighter looks really good. I'm a big Street Fighter
in the
fan.
arcade. I don't know. The game's decades old. I've played it. I'm kind of interested in that first-person Hotto mode or whatever it's called. I want to see some footage of that. That could be some silly fun, but.
Yeah. Oh, is that your sister in the chat, Little Giddle?
Little Giddle, yeah, that's my sister Kelly.
Oh, hi, Kelly. Yeah, no problem.
Dave says hi.
Hi. I can't hear you, and it's annoying.
She's not listening to the show. She's just playing in the chat, and she can only hear my side of the conversation.
It's very annoying.
So, why can't she hear me?
Because I'm using headphones, and
I see.
She's not listening to the show. She's just playing in the chat.
Well,
So.
Anyway,
nice.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So anything else in launch window that you're picking up?
Man, it's there's not much on launch day besides Zelda. I'm not interested in 1-2 Switch. Street Fighter 2 is coming out, I think, later in March, so that's not launch day either. So for now, it's just Zelda for me. But I guess we'll see what else. Some of those indie games look kind of fun too. Some of the I Am Setsuna looks kind of fun. Gosh, Bomberman looks fun.
Ryan might be neat.
But $50, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a couple of them are. I'm like looking at one. It's the 1-2 Switch problem. It's like $50. This should be a $10 eShop game, like Snipper Clips.
Clips, yeah. That I hope
and that does look absolutely adorable. But I don't know if it's. I'm a single player gamer, so I wouldn't have much use for it. But it is really neat looking. I do like it. Looking to the future, I'm definitely interested in Xenoblade 2. I would put money down on it not being out this year, at least not in North America, but we'll see. Certainly Mario Odyssey. That Project Octopath Traveler looks neat.
Yeah,
I hope it keeps that name because I love that name. No one names games like Square Enix.
Yeah, exactly. No, that game looks great. It looks like a modern day Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, I really like that style. So
and Super Nintendo is my all-time favorite Nintendo console, and I believe it's a tie between N64 and the NES for my second favorite, I believe.
So, what's your thoughts on an eventual Super NES Classic Edition? Think we'll get one?
Yep, I think we're gonna get one.
Yeah, that seems to go without saying. Let me.
And Nintendo needs to be smarter and make more of them, and not discontinue the thing too early before people can get their fill.
I know. I had to throw them some. I don't think they listen to me much, but I had to throw them a little bit of shade on Twitter when they announced how many NES Classic Editions they'd sold worldwide. It was like 1.5 mil, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.5 mil worldwide in a couple months. I'm like, just think of how many would sold if anyone could find them. That should have sold at least 6 million by now.
Easily 5-6 million, because you try to buy it. I remember it came on to GameStop, I think last week, and I tried to buy it right away. I haven't been able to get one. I tried to buy it right away, and then when I went to check it out, it was gone. It said the item's been sold out already. So,
yeah.
So at least make some more, to provide enough for the demand. The demand's not been met yet.
I wonder if it was a matter of they're just busy manufacturing Switch units and didn't have room on the production line.
I don't buy
Eddie,
it.
Neither do I. Eddie
Oh,
Santana reminds me of Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. That's also something I'm very much looking forward to.
Oh, okay.
Although I might get it on PS4 because I've seen it on one of the Japanese shows and it's noticeably graphically inferior. But who is it? Square Enix did say that there's going to be some new characters and tweaks and rebalancing and included DLC or something. So it might be a better experience on the Switch. So we'll see.
Your sister made a comment earlier that from my setup, it looks like the couch is blocking the door to the outside.
Yeah.
And then no one can get in or no one can get out. You come into my bunker, man. No,
you can't spot me. I've got the couch blocking the door.
Exactly. My front door is actually, you can't see, it's actually in front of me here. So it's not, that's actually like the closet. So
that's a closet that the couch is. Yes, that's a closet back there. So, let's see. Where was the? So this is something you actually covered yesterday, but Sony just filed a patent for a new handheld that looks suspiciously like the Switch.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a picture of it here. Let me see. Where did I put it? Here it is. Yeah, that looks kind of familiar, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. That looks like a DualShock 4 controllers with a screen in between them.
Or maybe it's just a new PS4 controller, and they've just made that weird little touchpad thing in the center. They've just said, let's go full Wii U with the DualShock 4 and put a screen in it.
Put your palm on there, yeah.
There you go.
No, so, but isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That 2 weeks before the Switch is going to be released, Sony makes this patent public that they filed in 2015. So I thought that was really interesting that they did that. I wonder why.
It seems odd that they would do it as some sort of way to interrupt Nintendo, like to make anyone who's on the fence go, oh, well, Sony might have their own better version of this in the next year, so maybe I should hold off. I don't think most gamers are going to ever hear of this patent, so that's probably not a good strategy if that was the thinking behind it.
Well, they made no announcement either, obviously.
Right.
This thing just popped up, and IGN did an article on it themselves too, and it kind of went around the net, and everyone has been reacting to it, and some people are calling, Sony copycats and stuff like that. And I don't particularly think that they are copying it necessarily because of when they filed it was back in 2015. And that we don't know 100% if those controllers are detachable. If you look at the back of that picture, they're bolted on from the picture. So I don't know. It's hard to say. But as far as them doing another handheld, the PSP sold 80 million worldwide, so that it was really a success. But the Vita only sold 15 million. So do you give up after I would imagine Sony would keep trying. Why not? They were successful with one, not with the other. Why not? 2 out of 3 maybe not bad for them. Who knows?
Yeah, Greenbolt in the chat says Capcom is porting Resident Evil Engine onto the Switch. I read that also.
They said they would like to. They didn't say that they were.
Okay.
They were looking into the possibility of getting the Resident Evil 7 engine running on the Switch. And then I saw a tweet out from Obi-Wan Plays saying that you see, Resident Evil 7 is coming to the Switch.
Confirmed. Yeah.
Confirmed. And no, that's not what they said. They said that they were looking on get the engine running on the Switch. So it's not running on there yet.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's kind of one of the most disheartening things is when I see AAA developers talk about their games and the Switch. For instance, Mass Effect Andromeda, the company behind that game said, well, we just don't think it would sell very well. But, maybe if the Switch sells a ton, a lot of companies are, the big companies with the big games are taking the let's wait and see what the Switch does approach, which you're dooming the console to failure if you take that approach. But also, I find it interesting that Nintendo's consoles are the only ones that have that trouble, because these companies do not do that with Sony and Microsoft's platforms. They say new
Nope.
Sony platform, new Microsoft platform. Let's wait and see how it does. No, they are there day one with all their big titles. All the EA Sports titles, whatever the new Mass Effect game is, the new Call of Duty. They're like, oh, new console, everything on it now. Let's make this a success. Nintendo, they're like, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how it does with no games, and then we'll make a decision.
Yeah. Now with the Wii U, they had games right away at launch, but what kind of games were they? Right. I mean, they were old ports. You know, a year-old port of Batman, 8-month-old port of Mass Effect 3, and not even the other two games when you could buy all three, the trilogy for the same price.
And it was missing DLC. Yep. Mass Effect 3 was labeled Special Edition, but was missing DLC.
It was special. It was
special.
Yeah.
But Mass Effect Trilogy came out on the other consoles at the same time for less money.
Yeah. Exactly.
I wonder why it didn't sell on the Wii U.
You know what was even worse, Andrew, is that I think, what was it, 3 months later, I remember in 2013, you could buy the trilogy for $20, and then the Wii U version of Mass Effect 3 was still $59.99. Didn't drop in price. I was like, what is going on here? It was just like a disaster. Like 2013 was one of the worst years. I think that's when you did your video too about all the games not coming to the Wii U.
The first For Everything But Wii U video was like, oh man, March, April, May, something like that. It was like the first 6 months of the Wii U.
Yeah, in 2013 then. Yeah.
For anyone who's wondering, I think the list is up to 301, 302, something like that.
Not on the Wii U?
Yeah, a little over 300 games for everything but Wii U. So 300 games that are at least on the PS3 and the 360, but not the Wii U.
Oh, wow.
300.
That's a lot of revenue. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a shame. 13U Cube asks if I'll buy Dragon Quest 11 in Japanese or wait to see if they translate localized. I would be surprised if Dragon's Quest 11 doesn't get localized, so I'll wait and see on that one.
Are you a big Dragon Quest fan? I guess you are, huh?
That's my favorite RPG series of all time.
I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I've always loved the back when it was Dragon Warrior and then Dragon Quest. Yeah, it's my favorite RPG series, so I'm really looking forward. I didn't like 9 because I didn't care for 9 so much because it was on the handheld, and I put over 30 hours into the game. I was just like, I don't want to play it on the handheld. I want to play it on my TV. What a bad game, though. And then 10 was the MMO. It hasn't come out here yet anyway, but I was never interested in it because MMOs don't really appeal to me. So, but 11 does look really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it does. And the thing about third parties on the Switch, that's the concern, is that you wait too long, and then where are you going to be playing while you're waiting for these games to come, right? So yeah, it's kind of hard to you can't rely on third parties for Nintendo systems. You got to rely on Nintendo, but where are the other? It's kind of like we're trying to wait and see where we're going to be, standing with the Switch here.
And we already know a lot of the big multi-platform games coming out in the next year. Well, Resident Evil 7 already came out, but and I think For Honor just came out too, but that's close enough to launch. It's like, well, it could have if these games could run. But Mass Effect Andromeda, we already talked about. The Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm sure Switch could run that. Injustice 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the Metal Gear Survive, I think is what it's called.
I'm not sure.
Prey, Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, as Matthew pointed out in the chat, Tekken 7, as Matthew pointed out in the chat, it may be the case that the Switch won't run them, and it probably won't run them as is, but we're still not completely clear on the technical capabilities of the Switch, so it may be close enough that, because we all remember that's that's presumptuous. But back in the GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation 2 days, the PlayStation 2 was the weakest of the bunch, and the Xbox was the strongest, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But all the third-party games that came out on the Xbox also came out on the weaker PlayStation 2. It can be done. So hopefully the Switch is actually powerful enough that the games can be reasonably scaled down to run on the Switch without making them completely inferior products. But it also requires companies like your EAs and BioWares and Rockstars to care to try.
Yeah, and then you have comments from Final Fantasy 15 director saying that the game wouldn't run on the Switch.
Yeah.
That's why it's not coming to the Switch, basically. And then he said they didn't even bother testing it to run either. So it's hard to it's hard to say, but the specs that had been leaked from that massive leak that was I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, basically we're looking at a customized Tegra X1 chip from NVIDIA, and you've seen games run on that. They look pretty good.
Yeah.
But a lot of the games that were running on the NVIDIA Shield were based on Xbox 360 ports. So I haven't seen any PlayStation 4 ports running on NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's hard to say. Just looking at it, it seems the Switch is certainly not as powerful as the PS4, but it looks to be a bit more powerful than the Wii U, at least. But as commentators often recognize, each successive generation of consoles seems to be beholden to the law of diminishing returns. The jump from each generation seems to be less and less, at least visually discernible. I mean, my mom can definitely tell the difference between Super NES and N64. She'd have a bit of a difficulty telling the difference between PS3 and PS4, for example.
That's true.
While the Switch may be between the Wii U and PS4 somewhere, it might be close enough.
Well, that's what you hope. That's what we hope. Since we don't have the games, we don't have any games to see though, to know, right? There's no games coming to even know if they can run on it yet. We haven't had any announcements of AAA third-party games to know. So we're left here guessing, really, and the system hasn't come out yet.
And we're seeing a bunch of people in the chat guessing about Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Switch. I would guess no.
I don't know. We don't know, right? It's one of those things where you have no announcement, so all you can do is hope. Yeah. And Nintendo fans, as we have been for the last 5-6 years, have been doing a lot of hoping.
It's all we've got.
So
we have hope in Zelda.
Hope in Zelda. There you go.
There you are.
And that's a Wii U port, and that's also going to be on the Wii U day one.
Yeah, and that's tricky too, because the big launch game is a game that's available the same day on another console. On the other hand, it's a console that not that many people have.
Yeah.
On the other hand, most of the people who want Zelda probably have a Wii U.
Because they saw the trailer in 2014 when it was promised for the Wii U.
Right. And they said, well, I'm going to get a Wii U, and, well, crap, I bought a Wii U specifically for Zelda, and do I really want to drop 300 plus tax to get slightly a bump in resolution and great and better environmental sound effects? Wait, that was the weird one. I understand that. I understand the Switch a little bit more powerful, can crank out a bit higher resolution, but the improved environmental sound effects, it's like, is the sound hardware of the Switch really significantly better than the Wii U?
I don't know.
It has better fidelity in its footsteps.
I think the Switch supports true like a Dolby 5.1 surround sound, and I think the Wii U is a little bit modified. It's like PCM surround sound. I don't know. It's a little bit different, but I don't think there's much to worry about there with the sound. I think it'll sound just fine.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how many people, put the Wii U and the Switch version side by side, and it's like, oh my God, the footsteps sound so much clearer on the Switch version.
Yeah, maybe there's some kind of HD rumble, that rumbles on the Joy-Con when Link gets close to something. Who knows?
Well, Nintendo came out and said the only difference is the resolution and the environmental sound effects. So I'm guessing there's no HD. There's probably rumble, but no HD rumble, which seems odd. But
Yeah, I don't know. It's still not enough information. I think a little vague on some of the things.
And it'll be interesting to see how once we have both of the games and Digital Foundry and other outlets actually compare the two and see, here's what Nintendo says the differences are. Here are all the actual differences.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I saw, yourself included, I think you had a video comparing the lighting in the E3 build of the Wii U version and the lighting in the opening area of the Switch version from recent. And
very interesting.
I know. I caught that when I saw the some of the Switch footage, and I was like, this doesn't look right to me. And then I saw your video. I'm like, yeah, it like glowed back in E3, and now it's just really dull. And I don't know if they hadn't turned the lighting on yet, or if they just the art direction had taken a left turn and they decided it was too much. It'll be interesting to see what the final versions of those games look like.
They forgot to do this.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but yeah, that was really weird. And I got some criticism on that video because I said that the Wii U version had better looking lighting than the Switch version did. But it's a fact. I mean, if you look at it,
well, better looking lighting.
Switch version was missing something there.
Yeah. I mean, better looking lighting is certainly an opinion, but you can objectively say that the Wii U version had lighting.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, we are at an hour, and anyone in the chat have some pressing questions before we take off for the evening? Nintendo Switch says Dave got jokes. Ha ha ha.
Well, they made the joke themselves. It's really easy. Anyone can do this, guys. You got jokes. Just keep them snapping.
Actually, a pretty nice snap you got there. Let's see. America on Fire. I'm getting the Switch day one, but I will hold on to my receipt if things get bad. Well.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to
ask
you,
dude.
I forgot to ask you, are you going to buy the Switch on day one, or are you waiting till Mario Holiday?
Probably.
I didn't remember what you said.
Probably not day one. I made a video a while ago talking about will I buy the Switch day one, and it's really conditional. I mean, it depends on a lot of things. Like, I'm not going to stand in line overnight, so if I can't actually walk into a store and buy one, then I'm not getting one day one. Also, I'm waiting to see how since Zelda is really the only thing on the Switch that interests me for quite a while, I might get it on the Wii U. It's really going to depend on what the true differences between the versions are. I mean, if it turns, I like you, I prefer how the lighting looked in the Wii U E3 build. Who knows what it looks like in either version now, but if it turns out that I just prefer the art direction in the Wii U version, I'll get that. I also plan to, I haven't held a Switch yet, so I plan to go to Fry's or Best Buy or somewhere and check out a demo unit and hold the Joy-Con controllers in my hands and see what I think. Because I'm not spending $70 on a Pro controller. So if I hold the Joy-Cons, I'm like, not really feeling it. That will tip me towards just getting the game for the Wii U also.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because a lot of people I've been reading on the forums, they're waiting for the Digital Foundry comparison before making their minds.
Yeah.
But then Nintendo, we don't know when we're going to be seeing reviews of the game go up. There's a rumor on NeoGAF saying that the embargo lifts on March 3rd for the Zelda reviews. I mean, March 2nd, I mean.
Some of my friends have been getting some of the people I know have been getting their Switches and Zeldas this week, or maybe.
Oh, really?
early next week, if I'm remembering, because
Kevin Cassidy.
actually, I wouldn't. I don't know. I haven't talked to Kevin about that, but I do know another person who's getting their Switch very soon, and Zelda very soon. So I think a lot of people will actually. I don't know what the embargo is. I don't think anyone's going to be able to talk about it for a while, but some people should be getting it soon. So I think we'll see at least reviews on day one or whenever the embargo lifts, because people will definitely have the game beforehand.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if we actually had like right now preview builds of it up and they could actually compare both versions right now, that could actually help sell more Switch systems or whatever, encourage people to buy it on the Switch.
Yeah.
You reading something funny there?
Yeah, 13UQ is asking me, do I have no friends? And you're asking a negative question, so I have to be very careful how I answer that. No.
I think you mean you have friends. You're just not going to say who they are. We all have friends like that.
Yeah, I do have friends. None of them are here right now. But I do have them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when you tell your friends or your mother or something. It's like I'm totally dating someone, and she lives in Canada, and her name's Susan, and we get along great. No, you've never met her. No, you probably won't, because Canada. Yeah, I totally have friends.
All right, that's cool. We all have uncles that work for Nintendo.
That's right. Andrew has friend on Nintendo Network. Well, you have to remember, I'm kind of a journalist, I guess. I wrote for Game Politics for over a decade, so I know some people. I actually Sony's. I work like down the street from Sony, and I go to the gym with a guy who, well, he got laid off a couple months ago, but he worked for Sony. So I a lot of times will learn stuff that I can't talk about, and it's kind of weird because I'm like, why are you telling me stuff you shouldn't be telling me? It's like, hey, dude, don't tell anyone about this. But I'm like, why are you telling me this? You're not supposed to tell me this. So a lot of times I'll know some things, but I can't talk about them. So it's embargoes are weird. I imagine you've had to work under an embargo here and there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm. Yeah, never mind. We're good.
You have. It's frustrating, isn't it? Because sometimes you hear something really cool and you want to talk about it and you can't.
Exactly.
And sometimes people tell you stuff. Sometimes I think people tell you stuff and tell you can't talk about it just to be mean and to frustrate you. Like, here's really cool stuff. Now don't say anything or I'll never talk to you again. It's like, well, I can't write about it. I can't talk about it. Why are you even bothering?
well, the thing is that it does prepare you for what lies ahead too. When you do hear about stuff that you can't talk about.
Yeah. Well,
I think
that's true.
Sounds like we both have been there. So yeah, it at least gives you some kind of foresight to what's going on in the industry, and then you can kind of be prepared for what lies ahead.
Yeah. All right, I think that's good for a show. Dave, thank you very much for agreeing to be my guest this evening. Very good to meet you too.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let us plug our stuff and get out of here. Andrew Eisen, Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube and you'll find my absurd collection of YouTube videos. And at Andrew Eisen is Twitter, and Facebook page, Andrew Eisen YouTube. Dave, plug away.
Yeah, you guys can see me on Twitter at Tweener. On Twitter, Super Metal Dave 64, or that's basically what it is, and the same thing on my YouTube channel. You can't miss it. Just type that in, and you'll get me. Subscribe and follow me on Twitter.
All right. Had a great audience tonight. I think our respective audiences combined forces and became stronger, like Voltron or
Power Ranger.
What's the power? Is it a Zord? Is that what the Power Rangers stuff is called? Zords?
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. So thanks, everyone. That's it for this episode of Molehill Mountain. We'll be back next Saturday, and Zachary should be back. He's busy moving. So, Dave, again, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Everyone else, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.